everybody, Chef Vanessa here, and we're going to do the read alouds. Welcome to Be Here for the Fun. So, basically, let's do the news before we do anything. So, I missed read alouds, like 2 read alouds, and I had to do today's. And personal news, we're doing read alouds in the show. Mayhem and Family Fun news, we have a giveaway, link in the description. My channel news, we are close to 50 subscribers. I lost 1 subscriber a couple days back, so now I only have 40. But let's get back to 49 and then 50. Let's go, you guys. So we're gonna do our read alouds. Let's do the technology's impact now, since we have it right here. But the read alouds for today's episode of the same old books we've been doing. If you've been watching all of our read alouds and stuff, you realize that you're eventually used to this stuff. But we're doing our old school Pokemon Classic Handbook and our nursery collection. Let's get started. Technology's impact. So last time we read about an adventure to remember. Now we're gonna read about the making of industrial age. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So I kind of messed up on the technology impact thing. But anyways, let's get reading. The Making of Industrial Age by Kathy Burgang. I like the last name. Burgang. Pretty cool. The towering steel and glass building rises from the city street, lighting up the night sky. The steel machinery, electricity, and industrial, agriculture design of the skyscraper are the result of industrial revolution. 1760 to 1940. That lived for a while. Many engineered technologies take for granted today are products of the 150-year time period that spanned from the late 18th century to the early 20th century. Historians call this time period a revolution because it was an era in which civilization made a dramatic and far-reaching changes. Most of the changes organized with the way goods were manufactured and transported. However, the ripple effects were felt everywhere. The new infections affected every aspect of daily life. They changed the way people lived. They also changed the way people worked. Many people left their farms and rural areas and moved to cities or urban areas. In cities, they would work in factories that made goods. Skilled workers that had made things by hand in the past now had to learn different skills, such as how to run new machines. These machines process the same goods faster and greater numbers. Could a little artisan of craftsperson. Without the mass production of steel skyscrapers such as the Empire State Building could not have been built. So this tower is really big. You can read this little font down here. It tells you what the picture's about and stuff. If you're wondering why I'm going like this, I'm making sure you guys can see the pictures, because that would be embarrassing me just going. So right here is the Tower of Isa. I have to. Oh, obviously, that's not true. But what's true is that I want you guys to see the pictures. I don't want to just be showing. So the guys, this is the tower that they were talking about. That would be embarrassing, you know. So I'm gonna have to look at the thing to show the picture. The textile industry helped kickstart the Industrial Revolution in the United States. You have a black and gray photo, like what they did in the old days, because they don't have color in pictures back then. So, oh wait, I showed you the picture. So tomorrow, the next time we read, because I missed read around. The next time we read, we're gonna read about making textiles. So you guys can go check that out. That was Technology's Impact. We only... This bookmark absolutely sucks. We need a different one. Let's use a roller. I know it's not a bookmark, but it's gonna work. Click. Okay, it doesn't work. Alright, we need to find a new bookmark, but it's not working. Oh, wait. We can use a sticky note. Get this one out. Guys, do you hate when this happens and you're just trying to write a sticky note? Okay, these ones we're not using. I don't want to waste these sticky notes. I have a whole bag filled. You need one of these sticky ones. I showed you all the sticky notes on here in one of my videos. You guys can go check that out. Now these ones are just like my school ones, so I still need to... Old school. I need to use them all. Okay. Now these ones are the good ones. They don't work off easily. Stick that on. There we go. Boom. Okay, now we're going to read our Pokemon Classic Handbook. So last time we learned about the Pokemon Squirtle, which is his first upgrade, second upgrade, Wartortle, and then Blastoise, which was his third upgrade. So you guys go check that out. Now we're going to read about all Caterpies. Caterpie, the little tiny little caterpillars upgrades. This chef hat looks so good. I can't imagine being a chef one day. Okay, Caterpie. Type bug. A ravenous Caterpie can quickly gobble up leaves that are bigger than itself. Its antenna can produce a terrible smell. So this is Centipede. Very cute. Now Caterpie. What am I saying? Not Caterpie. 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 No. Caterpie. So I like how to say it. Let's just say this. Cat. Your pea. Caterpie. Immortal height 1,100. Metric height 0.3 meters. Immortal weight 6.4 limbs. Metric weight 2.9 kilograms. Possible moves: tackle, string shot, and bug bite. Ouch. And Metapod. We have Metapod. He looks very sad though. Like, look at Metapod. He looks very sad. By the way, no light. Oh, of course. Bro, the light was on. Like, it was up. Bro. And as soon as I turn on the light, light's on. Bro. I'll show you it again since it's not dark anymore. There's Metapod. Type bug. Inside its iron hard shell, Metapod patiently prepares to evolve. It doesn't move much, so it relies on its shell for protection. How to say it? Meet-a-pod. Pod. Metapod. Metral height 204. Metric height 0.7 meters. And metral weight 21.8 limbs. And metric weight 9.9 kilograms. Possible moves: hardened. So he only has one move. So let's see. One move. So that was Caterpie's second upgrade. Well, involve, whatever you want to call it. And then his last involve is Butterfree. Butterfly Pokemon. Type: bug flying. Butterfree is excellent at seeking out flowers with the most delicious nectar. It sometimes flies more than 6 miles to locate its favorite food. How to say it? Free. Butterfree. Immortal height, 307. Metric height, 1.1 meters. And immortal weight, 70.5 limbs. Metric weight, 32.0 kilograms. Possible moves: confusion, poison powder, stung spore, sleep powder, gust, supersonic, whirlwind, flies beam, silver wind, tailwind, rage powder, safeguard, attack, bug buzz. I like bug bugs. And quiver dance. I like quiver dance. That sounds cool. Ooh, okay. This looks very scary. So, the next time we read, we're going to read about Weedle, a hairy bug Pokemon, and all his upgrades. So you guys can go check that out. Let me tell you, the next time we read, because I missed to read aloud. So the next time we read, we're going to learn about a little caterpillar. But I don't know if I would call it a caterpillar, but now I'm going to read our old school Darwinkin. Let's read. So last time we read about the catastrophe and chaos that happened. So you guys go check that out. It was crazy. And let me tell you how it ended. The car ended up in a ditch. How? You guys go check that out. Alright, let's read. Today's Monday in their world, which is Monday. Hooray! I begged Mom not to tell Dad what happened to the car when he got home. But since she said that the fender was all banged up, he'd find out anyway. So Mom's mad about the whole incident. If you don't know what happened, you guys go check it out. So you'll be more, okay with the story. I realized my only option was to get out of town, and I thought that would be the perfect way to do it. The class trip at Hard Scramble Farm starts today and goes for a whole week. I figured the time I get back, Dad will have cooled down at least a little. So I told Mom I changed my mind on the trip, and she was all excited. She called the school to make sure I could still go, and luckily there were a handful of spaces left in the cabins. I went through my book bag and found the packing list they sent home last month to check what I needed to bring. So all the things you need to bring is bug spray, hiking boots, raincoat, canteen, day pack, jeans, plastic bag, sunscreen, toilet ties, and wool socks. No electronic devices, no junk food. So this is the camping list. You guys can pause that to look at it again if you want to. It was too late to go out and shop for all that stuff. Luckily, Mom found Roger's duffel bag in the garage which he had never unpacked when he went on the trip a few years ago. Inside were some hiking boots, a raincoat, a canteen, bug spray, and a bunch of other things on the list, which was great. But the bag reeked because there was half-eaten ham sandwich in there, which had something growing out of it. So this is the bag they found, which smells, so. I was a little worried about the food situation at camp, and I was tempted to try to sneak a few bars in, but I wasn't sure what the penalty was if he got caught. So I decided to just hide them in my sock drawer so nobody would eat them while I'm gone. I wasn't willing to make any risk when it comes to my comfort, though. I stuffed 3 whole containers of Freshies into Roderick's bag, even though that meant I couldn't fit the raincoat. So there he is packing up everything he needs on the trip. I buried the Freshies at the bottom of the bag because I didn't want Mom to know I was taking them. Mom says baby wipes are too expensive to use on a regular basis, and they're reserved for Manny. See, this is the main reason I want to be rich when I'm older. When I have a ton of money, I want to buy as many baby wipes as I can. That's if you're going to have kids, Gregory. So he has a whole closet full, and his wife's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much, baby." And he's like, "Anytime." But like, that would be waste money though, so. But until I have enough money of my own, I have to keep raiding Manny's supply. So he's trying to get up there and get it. When I was just about ready to leave for the trip, Grandpa gave me a book that he said might come in handy. So Grandpa's given him a book, which is probably from the old days when he was a kid, so. Grandpa said the book belonged to him as a kid. I was right. And when he gave it to Dad when he was his age, now he wanted me to have it. It looked a little outdated to me, but I didn't want to hurt Grandpa's feelings, so I told him I'd take it with me and read it the first chance I got. So this is the book. The utensil book for young lads. There was just enough room to fit in my bag, so I figured the more stuff I piled on top of the freshies, the better. When Mom dropped me off at the school this morning, though, I realized I was seriously unprepared for this trip. Everyone had a ton of gear, and I felt like I had underpacked. It's because the bags look big, that's why. After all of our stuff was loaded onto the bus, the bags took up at least half the space. That meant we had to double up on the seats, which made the ride to Hardscrabble feel like a lot longer than it should have. So all the bags in the back, so they had to like put 4 people in the seat, which only 3 can go in the seat. When we finally got there and drove through the main entrance, I was pretty relieved. But last stretch was brutal because it was a dirt road. Look how bumpy it is on there. Seeing a school bus just makes me want to go to real school. I'm in cyber right now. When we got off the bus, a group of kids from another school were just leaving, and they looked like they couldn't be getting out of there soon enough. So these kids look exhausted, and like there's Gregory coming off the bus with his bag. The kid in the back was holding a handwritten sign that didn't make any sense to me. Beware of Sly Scratch. So it's like the thing on Long Haul where Roderick and Gregory hold signs that said, "Help, we've been kidnapped." If you guys remember that, like the video. If you don't remember it, still like the video. A couple of my classmates seemed pretty freaked out when they saw it. A boy standing next to me said his older brother went to Hardscrabble Farms a few years back and told him all about the Sly Scratch. Bearing the Sly's Scratch guy was a farmer who lived at Hardscrabble Farms a long time ago, but the county came and kicked him off his land. So his friends are telling about it, which do you guys think it's real? Another kid chimed in and said he heard Sly Scratch went to live in the forest, where he survived by eating slugs and berries. Then Melinda Henson said she heard he went crazy and grew his fingernails really long. And pointy, too. See, I could have done without the part about long fingernails, because that sort of thing gives me the willies. Don't worry, my mom has, like long nails, but they're not, like, really, really long. They're just... Here, that's it. One of our chaperones, Mr. Healy, said that when his class went to Hardscrabble, a kid named Frankie came across Sly Scratch's shack in the woods. After Frankie saw it, he was never the same. So this is coming from a grown man, too. Anyone who heard Sly Scratch before knew about him now, because the story spread like a wildfire. I found the whole Sly Scratch thing disturbing, so everyone's just talking about it. I guarantee you, if anyone told me there was a endangered farmer prowling the grounds of a Hardscrabble Farms, I would have just stayed home and taken my chances with Dad. After we were done unloading the bus, we brought our stuff down to the main lodge, which was a giant log cabin with a bunch of long tables inside. The person in charge was Mr. Graz, which that's her short name, if you guys don't remember her, the music teacher. So, if you remember that episode, I just called her Graz. So once everyone sat down, she gave a speech about the camp rules. There was a bunch of them, but the one she said was the most important was that boys and girls aren't allowed to visit each other's cabinets for any reason. So this is Mr. Graz, if you've never seen her before. Mr. Graz said this was her 19th year coming to Hard Scramble, and she wasn't going to put up with any nonsense from anybody. And she had the chaperones go through everyone's bag to make sure nothing was trying to sneak any junk food or electronics. So they're just shaking through your stuff, which I don't like that. I feel like that's offensive. Like, why would you want somebody to look through your bag? Understand your mom and dad, but like, still, that'd be weird. Few kids got busted with stuff in their bags. Like Mike Barrows had a pound of Swedish fish in his backpack, and Duane Higgins got caught trying to smuggle it in a giant chocolate chip cookie. That thing is huge. I was really glad I left those candy bars back home, but I was very worried about the trappers must come find my baby wipes. Once Mr. Jones caught a whiff of my bag, though he didn't go digging any further. So it's good. Those baby wipes helped you. After we had lunch, which was hot dogs, baked beans, and stuffed peppers. There weren't any choices, so if you didn't like any of those things, you were out of luck. So there's slop and some food, whatever that is. When lunch was over, the chaperones told us to go scrap our leftovers into a giant pot. I haven't touched my stuffed pepper, so I dumped the whole thing. So it's just we're saving it. I asked Mr. Haley why we put our leftovers in a pot instead of the trash can. He said at Hard Scramble Farm, no food goes to waste, and everything we didn't eat this meal was put in a stew for the next one. He said this was the same way when he came to camp as a kid. They still use the exact same pot. That means there could have been leftovers from 30 years ago in that thing. After lunch, Mr. Graz and the female chaperones took the girls to the other side of the camp to go to their cabins. Mom had actually wanted to volunteer as a chaperone last minute, but she wasn't comfortable leaving Manny with Roderick and Grandpa. That kind of stinks, though, because she could have fed me inside information from the girls' side camp. You don't stand a chance with Lauren, but Chloe thinks you have a cute butt. Thanks, Mom. What the heck? So that's what Gregory hoped happened. Us guys stayed back in the cafeteria to get our cabin assignments. Most of the groups were kids who hang out together at school, but each cabin seemed to have one kid who didn't belong. So this is this big kid versus all these tiny little kids over here. Bro. The school must have decided to spread the troublemakers out of there so they wouldn't be more than one in a cabin. The only group that had more than one troublemaker was Mr. Nuzzy's group. But Mr. Nuzzy works as a prison guard, so they could figure out he could handle it. So these are all the people in a group. Since I registered late, I got put with the group of leftovers, which include Rolly. What's wrong with hanging out with little Rolly? I was glad I got assigned to the same cabin as Rolly, but I wasn't happy his father was the chaperone. Mr. Jefferson has never really been a big fan of mine, and I wasn't looking forward to being cooped up with him for a whole week. It was pretty clear whoever had their cabin last did part of cleaning up after themselves. So it's really gross in there. Like, there's hair everywhere. One kid in my group, Jillian Trimble, seemed to be taking the situation pretty hard because his lips started to quiver as soon as he walked in the door. I was kind of surprised Jillian decided to come on this trip because I'm guessing he's never been away from his parents the night before. Jillian was always the kid who made a big scene every morning during drop-off time at school. Once in second grade, he had a strong grip on his mom that the vice principal had to come to peel them apart. So he's like grabbing onto his mom. I figured Jillian decided to go on this trip on his own, but when I remember the scene at the school this morning, I started to wonder if his mom actually tricked him into doing it. Everyone started picking out their bunks, and that's why I found out everyone had such big bags. So they're just getting little pillows and blankets and stuff. I just assumed that the bedding would be taken care of, but I guess that was just too much hope for a place like this. The closest thing I had to pillow was my hoodie, which already smelled like Roderick's ham sandwich. It was hard to find a mattress without any weird stains on it. I picked the top bunk because he couldn't risk being under Jillian in case he wet the bed. Unfortunately, Mr. Jefferson slid into a spot right underneath us. So now Rolly's dad was my bunkmate. Of course, Gregory doesn't like it. After we finished unpacking our stuff, we went down to the activities area to do some team building exercises. The first thing we did was trust fall, where one guy would fall backward and everyone else was supposed to catch him. I guess the point was to show how our teammates have our backs. But Jordan Lanky did his fall while the rest of us were still working on where to stand. So he just jumped without any warning. Mr. Jefferson showed how to form two lines facing each other and then making a net by grabbing each other's wrists. So when Jeffrey, Swance, and got up on the platform, we thought we were ready for him. Oh, I'm guessing they weren't. But Jefferson is a big boy, and his weight made Rolling Grimes collapse and smash into each other. Of course, like he's bigger than all of them. Gareth was missing one of his front teeth, and everyone got down on their hands and knees to look for it. Then Emilio Mensdon found the tooth in Rolly's forehead. What the heck? The tooth is literally in Rolly's forehead. Joe! Mr. Jefferson told Amelia to run down and get the nurse who brought Gareth a damp washcloth to stop the bleeding. But she couldn't pull the tooth out of Rolly's forehead because it was really lodged in there. Not good. Mr. Jefferson called his wife to pick up Rolly and take him to get checked out. I don't know if she ended up going to a doctor or a dentist, because I have no idea what he even do for that sort of thing. So Mr. Jefferson was stuck at chaperoning a bunch of kids who weren't his. He had to do all these exercises that were supposed to teach us how to work together as a team, but all they really did was show us how bad we were at it. We did one activity called the Bucket Brigade, where we had to rely on line to bring water from a river all the way down to our cabin. The first guy filled up his bucket and then poured it into the next guy's bucket and so on. But we spilled so much water along the way that by the time we got into the cabin, there was almost nothing left to put in the metal tub we were supposed to fill. We realized if we were going to finish the activity, we need to find a better way to fill the tub, so we worn out our sweaty clothes. What the heck? You're going to put sweaty in there? Ew. After that, we did an activity where we had to tie our wrists together with scarves and go through an obstacle course made out of ropes. When it came to physical activities, our group was pretty hopeless. Bruh. Guys are still trying to do these workout things and they can't even do one. After the ropes, of course, we couldn't untie the scarves because we knotted them too tight. And that wasn't good because Timothy Ames needed to use the bathroom in the cabin. Oh, God. By the end of the day, everyone was totally worn out, and I'm really glad when Mr. Jefferson told it was time for dinner. The meal was chicken patties, corn on the cob, and stew. I passed on the stew, and I was really glad I did when I saw Jordan pull an entire taco shell out of his bowl. Who knows what year that thing was from? Disgusting. After dinner, we went back to the cabin. Mr. Jefferson said that since we had been in the woods, we need to check on one another for ticks. Each person was responsible for his bunkmate, which means I had Mr. Jefferson. But Mr. Jefferson got a lot of hair, and I wasn't going to go poking through it. For all I knew, there would be a whole colony of ticks living in there. You're good. Thanks. So he didn't even check it. Everyone's always saying how great the outdoors are, but there's all sorts of creepy crawlies you need to worry about. I used to play in the woods all the time until I swallowed a live spider. But a place like Hard Scrambled Farms, there are just as many bugs inside as outside. Some sort of beetle burrowed into a kid's ear at dinner, and he had to go to the nurse station to have it removed. Dude, I think something just crawled into your ear. What? Jordan found a tick on the back of Julian's neck, and everyone freaked out about it. But Mr. Jefferson and Julian would be fine and took him down to the nurse. The second Mr. Jefferson and Julian left, the rest of the guys in my cabinet went totally nuts. I stayed out of everyone's way because I didn't want to be the first person from my group to get seen by the nurse today. By the time Jefferson got back, the cabinet was a wreck and everyone was filthy. They're having a wrestle fight, and Greg's like, nope, I'm not doing it, which is a good idea. Oh, I dropped my book. I'm guessing nobody had cleaned the floors in the place because when the guys were done rolling around, they were covered in dirt and hair. What? Good, Gregory didn't do that. As a punishment for trashing the cabinet, Mr. Jefferson made us go to bed early, and he lumped me in with everyone else, though I didn't do anything. No, he didn't do anything. And that's how we ended up going to bed while it was still light out on our first day. So that was old school. Unfortunately, we're not going to have enough time to do our reflection, so bye.